I am Comrade Net, and I'm here again with Supermom, and this time we're going to talk about the overturning of Roe versus Wade, which you told me you were very upset with.
Yes, I am extremely upset with. And I think, I'm sure I'm not the only woman, but I think I have a unique view on it because I know what it's like to have control of my body taken away from me. As a young woman, I know what that's like. Had Roe versus Wade been overturned during that time and abortion made illegal, I would have a 30-year-old child by now. But I'm still 100% against it because my choice was taken away, regardless of what I wanted, regardless of how I feel on a deep down level about abortion itself. My choice was taken away, and that's why I'm so against it.
Now, this is interesting what you just said, because I'm a pro-circumstance act. I'm not pro-life or pro-choice. I'm pro-circumstance. Right. But what that means to me is that this was not for the state. Like, this is more of a personal affair because there are really decent pro-life arguments that actually do exist, but they're not so extreme to the point, like most of them would be okay with aborting on the first term, depending on certain circumstances, for instance. You're not seeing any of that right now. Right. And you got I know pro-choice people who are all for abortion, but they're against the first trimester, the third trimester abortions. And so but logic would dictate that these positions are social standings, not state standings. The state should not, because you can never fully understand a person's circumstance, so it's best just to have Roe versus Wade completely protected, if anything.
Correct.
It should have been protected. There should have been like a shield law that you can't overturn it.
Correct.
But I picked up from you said, regardless of my personal views, could I ask about that?
I am pro-choice. But I'm always pro-choice, but I don't believe in abortion as a form of birth control. Absolutely not. But it just should be a personal choice, and there should be a term limit, I think, versus medical reasons. But and I also think that it opens the door, now what's going to be taken away from me next?
I'm afraid that this is going to lead to the overturning of same-sex marriage and shit. That's what's worrying me.
Right.
And shortly after the overturning of Roe versus Wade, they also overturned Miranda's rights.
You told me that. I really honestly had no idea.
Yeah, you can look that up. That is official. That you can't expect democracy in any semblance to stay in a country like this forever.
No, I don't think so. And it's sad because sometimes as a single vote, I don't feel like I have any say.
No, I hear you. I'm the same way.
I still do it.
I don't largely because I just feel like if we are really for democracy, forget the townhouses, forget anything that's connected to the state or the market. We could build constituent assemblies if enough of us recognized them, and we could do direct democracy in the civil society. And we have the best latches to that in this district, the Grand District. We're in the Grand. Everybody who's listening, we're in the Grand District of PSFM. Yes. So we have a lot of people who here in this particular neighborhood who are connected to the library or to the medical profession.
Yes.
And this tends to connect us to even the homeless.
Well, yeah.
That's why we know some of the anarchists on a first name basis. Because the civil society in Arizona, like we were talking about this, is ridiculously separate from the state.
Is. They're absolutely detached from the people.
Like Democrats and Republicans who are politicians out here, I think that, and that's why, I think out here people don't take, even if they are registered as Democrat or Republican, I don't think they take that very seriously because there's never really, most people in Arizona don't vote because,
You're right about that. Yeah, you are right about that.
I remember people that identified as liberal and conservative who just didn't like John McCain. They didn't trust him.
Or people who were just military, so felt like they had to like him.
Yeah. What do you think the further ramifications are going to be of the overturning of Roe versus Wade?
Well, I think it's already started.
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately, in the news just the other day, I read that a dead fetus was found somewhere in Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
and it happened to be, I believe they aged it about 25 weeks. So, but I don't know the circumstances yet. Neither did the news, but the foster care system is already. In Arizona alone, it's so. I feel like even as a society, we're not ready for the ramifications for the children. That this is going to produce. It's going to produce children,
Oh, this is going to be catastrophic. What this is going to do.
and not that but I did choose adoption, and I chose to adopt through foster care, and I am only one person, and there's still, and what really makes me angry, all those people that are so, pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how many children are you going to adopt?
They use that as a talking point. I've noticed a lot. It's like, there's other options. You can put it up for adoption.
But not in my backyard.
Yeah.
That makes me angry too. And when I chose to adopt through the foster care system, I saw so many. Not that there's anything wrong from adopting through other countries, but I just saw such a need with our own children, with our own, right here in my own backyard. I had to take care of that, and unfortunately my daughter's needs were a little bit more extreme where, I decided, well, it's the best she just be an only child, and,
Not to sound divisive or anything, but I've been concerned about what this is going to do to a lot of the prostitutes out here. Because I'm not for prostitution because it's exploitation, but I am for the decriminalizing of prostitutes because, most research...
The women would be safer.
Well, most research shows that they would rather not be prostitutes.
Right.
Yeah.
They do whatever they have to do to put food on the table, especially if they have children.
Yeah. And how can they afford yet another kid, in their line of profession?
Well, and it'll put them out of work, too,
Yeah.
for a few months.
Yeah. And, I suppose people feel like, that solves the prostitution thing. I was like, well...
No, it doesn't, because those people still need to eat.
Whether people like it or not, the only way to really solve the problem of prostitution is to end capitalism. Because, in a for-profit driven system, no matter what's going to happen, those that are going to be at the bottom are not going to approach anything legally at the end of the day. You can't afford to.
You're right. And you know what is getting sad? You can't even afford to buy food anymore.
No, bread lines in America. That's my joke. Under Gorbachev, there really were bread lines. The reason why I was brought to this country actually is because when Gorbachev got rid of basically dissolved the Warsaw Pact, even though Yugoslavia was not part of that, this provoked the rise of nationalism throughout that whole area. So the part of Macedonia I'm from is now like the capital of the Yugoslavia I'm from is now the capital of Macedonia. And that was just due to the rise of nationalism. The point is that there were red lines in the Soviet Union. I didn't mean to divert that.
No, you're fine.
But the funny thing is, you see bread lines. And,
Yes.
like nobody out here in the local centers is talking about capitalism anymore.
No. God, I can't even afford, pasta anymore. We were talking about that.
Yeah, no, we were also talking about how, like under Comrade number 3, the proposal of the natives is looking very friendly, including to the veterans, because the idea that was drafted of the Democratic Federation of Arizona makes a lot of sense, because a lot of us don't even call ourselves Americans. We're Arizonans.
True.
We're
Absolutely
Arizonans.
True. My daughter was born in Arizona, and I left Arizona and came back.
Yeah.
So I do love it here.
I left for
I do.
New York when I was 10, but I came back when I was 18, and I left a couple times again, but I kept coming back over here because I don't know, like we have the most integrated poor in the country I've ever seen, the most integrated homeless. One of the most successful times you'll find fellowship among the homeless, even.
Right.
But it is the wild west out here. The cops are often involved in murders. They cover them up. That's one of the most successful places to cover up murders, and especially when the cops are involved with the human traffickers, and especially when the thing with Arizona, I think, is that this place largely, unfortunately, before all the migration in Arizona, I think that this place was the retirement state of like the super white ring, Sun City, about Sun City. Yeah, like Sun City, like if you're a certain age and you wanted to retire there, you can't have a kid.
Yeah, I know. And they still do that today.
Yeah.
In other parts, not even just Sun City.
Yeah, a lot of them, it turns out, are very pro-life, like super hardcore pro-life. A lot of them you cannot, there was this perfectly innocent incident where, this lady who, she had her belly button showing, basically, whatever. And, this old couple, and everybody knew they were from some city, because this was very close to some city. They started, complaining, to the management of indecent exposure.
Oh my gosh. Have they been downtown?
No, it's weird, because these same people will get upset when they see people with a veil on.
Yeah, that's not... They get upset if somebody doesn't look exactly like them.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's the problem with Arizona. It's often asked, is it a patriarchy and matriarchy? Well, kind of both, because you have a pseudo-social matriarchy of white women that are conservative nut jobs. A lot of them blonde for some reason, both blonde and bottle blonde. I don't know what it is. It's like a sorority club.
It's the old lady ash blonde haircut.
Yeah, and they answer to even a smaller group of rich white men that that really are invested in controlling Arizona.
Right. That's why I love this just closeness of this community.
Yeah.
This close-knit group, and yes, we are aware of everything. But we are still keeping within ourselves and maintaining everything.
Did you know that the Grand District, this one, this is it's not the first success, but this is the first one to successfully completely pull off the principle of communitarianism.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Largely in thanks to Comrade Broke Mom and Grandma Gypsy, obviously.
Yes.
But the potluck ideas from Comrade number 3 and Comrade Broke Mom actually worked.
Oh, yes. I'm excited about that again.
Yeah. But do you have any more thoughts on Roe versus Wade and how that...
I do. There's one more thing that I think we do need to address before we go. But then we're going to have to... All these young teenage girls, they're not going to know who to turn to. And then they're going to take matters into their own hands. And then we're going to have dying teenage girls or women that, that are trying. Yeah. It's just more than... It's just fucked up.
It is. So let's ask this other question. Do you think that it's best that we put out the message that we should offer fellowship and refuge to women running away who are trying to get an abortion?
I would
absolutely
open my couch if I could.
Screw the state at this point. The state is not the people. The people of Arizona are...
And I would do that for any community, the LGBTQ community, veterans, any, you know.
That's really what I'm afraid this is going to go to. I'm afraid this is going to go to the ending of the same-sex marriage. And it really bothers me because I don't know if you've heard about they call it the gay Denny's, 7th Street and Camelback.
Mm-hmm.
I was over there shortly after that had passed, and you know, I saw couples come in who had been married, and I felt weird because I just started congratulating people because I was like, people had asked me, so do you want to, you know, when before it had gotten before it was passed, people had asked me if I was for same-sex marriage, and I said I'm really not for the state being involved in anything, but you know, I wouldn't complain if it was passed because it's not like I haven't benefited from you know, legal marriage, so fuck, they should have it too. You know, I do think that I don't think the state should be in charge of a lot of that. I think that there's actual ways of, but it's stronger culturally to have all that arranged by communities.
Yes.
You know,
that's another long topic.
Yes. But yeah, so we are against the overturning of Roe versus Wade.
Absolutely.
Everybody
100%.
here. Yes. It is a disaster already, and it's only going to get worse. Until
what do they say? The tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. But thanks to everybody who is listening. We are the Neighborhoods.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
You have a good day.
You too.